I've been gearing up for my 100 NL challenge. I just want to show people that it can be done. How long do I think this will take me? If I had to just guess an amount of weeks, I would say 6 weeks. Oh, get wrecked! Oh! What? I do not have good news for you today. I don't. I wish I did. We're gonna need a new plan. Oh my fucking god! Oh my god fucking damn it! And look at this big old fucking pile of cash! Oh my fucking god! Are you fucking kidding me? Now who fucking sucks at micro stakes now, bitch? Oh! Yes! We did it! What's up guys, Doug Polk here, and today we're going to be talking about the Bankroll Challenge, which concluded a few weeks ago, where I successfully turned $100 into 10,000 bucks. In this video, we're going to go through some of the highs and the lows from the challenge. We're going to talk about some of the things that I learned along the way, which might help you in your pursuit for bankroll glory. And we're also going to talk about me playing poker and where we're going from here. If you weren't familiar with the challenge, it was a simple idea. Take $100 and turn it into $10,000 playing micro to small stakes online. Now, I never set a timetable on when I had to accomplish it because I knew I'd have other things that I was busy with, but it did kind of get sidetracked for some time. We started in August 2016 and concluded in August 2018, so it took just about 2 years and 58 sessions to complete the challenge. I was allowed to play basically whatever I wanted to play in it. I could play any game type that was available. However, I did play on WSOP.com, which has a little bit of a smaller player pool than maybe some of the big sites that you guys might know, so it was tough at times to find action that fit my bankroll, particularly when I was playing the micros. Unfortunately, there were no hand histories on WSOP, so I can't show you a graph by hand. In fact, I'm going to have to mainly do this by showing you clips of earlier in the challenge or talk about certain days that we had, because there were some pretty hilarious ones along the way, but I'm not able to show you a graph of all of the hands because it doesn't exist. Luckily, here at Polker News Productions, we have the latest technology that can bring you a high resolution image of what went down in the Bankroll Challenge. Breathtaking. Taking a closer look at this graph, you can see that there were plenty of swings along the way, and they happened in different game types. For example, around day 11 or 12, I lost most of my bankroll playing heads up no limit. Should have just stuck to what I'm good at. We also have a timeline which has recaps of most of the days of action as I went along, and this one was a particularly fun one. So on day 4, and I vividly remember this, I was playing some 1 cent, 2 cent, and the bankroll had taken a turn for the worse. I think it was around 80 bucks or so in the bankroll. Now, I was playing 1 cent, 2 cent, and I had a $10 deposit bonus that I was definitely looking to take advantage of. And I promised the stream I'd play the whole session until we got that bonus. But what I didn't realize was it was going to take about 20 hours to get there. We certainly had some highs and lows that day. 7s, 5s are no good. Oh, $9! This is the most excited you will ever see me get over $9. Can you count, motherfucker? 9. That's right. It's German time here on the stream. Are we gonna lose 9? After about 7 or 8 days of struggling at microstakes cash, where the really high rake didn't seem to be helping me just quite yet, actually, I decided maybe it was time to move over to tournaments. Tournaments are a great way to make some money when you're a small stakes player because, you know, you're gonna get to play in huge fields with tons of bad players, and so I made my move over to playing in some $1 tournaments. Well, this had a pretty immediate and drastic effect for the bankroll, where after day 9, I got up to 550 bucks in the roll. I'm playing 40 V raises. Here we go, guys. Oh, and King Jack. Hold! What the hell, man? Diamond! Hold! Taking it down! We did it! We did it! Bazam, bazam, bazam! Throw your goddamn dongers up! We won. Holy shit. We did this. Congratulations. You won. We got first place out of all the places. After a couple days of riding high off that tournament win, things took a turn for the worse, where I decided to play some heads up no limit and it cost me dearly. In what was possibly the most devastating session of my entire life, despite being a loss of only $270, the bankroll went from over $400 down to a paltry $130. Hold! Oh my god! Why? We've lost like every all-in today. Oh my god. Oh, Jesus. We've lost like every all-in. Can we catch a break? No, the answer is no, we cannot catch a break. The most devastating part about this day wasn't only the fact the bankroll was now back to near starting, but it was also that I was no longer rolled to play the games I was playing before. And so I was going to have to put a lot of sessions in at lower stakes in order to get back to where I was just that day. At this point, it started to look pretty bleak. I'd lost most of my roll. I was back down to near the start. People had stopped tuning in because nobody gives a fuck about micro stakes. I had my back up against the wall. The haters were everywhere and they were closing in. But that's when you gotta dig deep. I know we're just a short period of many months. I managed to rally. Day 15, $3 win. Day 16, $3 win. Day 17, $7 win. Day 18, $1 win. Day 19, $11 win. Day 20, $11 win. Day 21, $7 win. Day 22, $237 after a big W. Before I knew it, on day 25, we'd finally peaked over $1,000 in the Bankroll Challenge. And you might be asking, what game types did I focus on to build my roll in those areas? It was around this point I decided to start emphasizing cash a little bit more. Now, I went back to a tournament-based approach in the final month of the challenge before going back to cash, so certainly moved back and forth quite a bit. But here's the thing, once you're able to play more tables and have a lower amount you have to pay in rake, then you can actually get that edge on many tables at once. And one of the things that's tough on a site like WSOP.com is that there's not a large player pool. And that's something that you guys have to think about with where you're playing. And this is actually like maybe the first piece of advice I'd give you. When you are deciding where to play, look at all your options and then figure out what makes the most sense. If you play on a small site, you're probably going to have worse opponents, but they're not going to have as big a field. So I think because of that, on a site like WSOP.com, you might want to lean towards cash games, whereas on a site like, let's just say PokerStars, you'd want to lean more towards tournaments. The more people that are in a field in a tournament, the more room there is for edge. When you have less people but they're bad, you can really extrapolate more money from them by playing cash games. By day 30, we'd gotten the roll up to $3,600. Cash games had been good. We were playing a mixture of no limit and PLO, and everything was hunky-dory. This is where the second big downswing took place. Getting worried here about the amount of time that this is going to take. Getting worried about it a little bit. Oh my god, Ace Jack! Ace Jack, are you kidding me? Oh my god. Oh my god, we got slow rolled too. Oh. After a series of 50 and 100 no limit and PLO sessions, the bankroll was all the way back down to 927. The next 10 or so sessions were all break even, and this all led up to when I resumed the challenge in July of this year. When I got back to the site, it was a little bit different because Nevada, New Jersey, and Delaware had merged liquidity, and so there were more people playing than there were before, and I thought that the play was going to be tournaments. There were a few other people that I knew doing challenges who were doing tournaments as well, and certainly plenty of value if you run deep in those tournaments. So I played tournaments for 3 to 5 days back at the grind, but there were a few reasons I decided I didn't think that it was the right play. For one of them being what I said earlier, which is on smaller sites, you generally want to play games with high edge, but also they just didn't have enough tournaments running that really made sense. They'd have like a couple going every hour. Well, that's not really enough to get enough volume in to be able to complete the challenge in a reasonable time frame. Also, one of my strengths has always been multi-tabling cash games, and so I felt that 10-tabling cash games was going to be a much better approach for me specifically because I already had the skills necessary to have a good win rate, and then I could actually just get in the volume. Now, one thing I want to make sure is clear to you guys. One of the biggest mistakes that I made on my way up the first time around was that I didn't put enough emphasis into playing well. So I would not recommend playing a ton of tables if you're trying to move up in stakes unless your game is already quite good. The reality is if you're playing NL50 or NL100, your game probably has a long way to go. I would generally advocate for playing 4 tables, maybe 6 if you can really handle it, and try and think about spots. Try and think about where can I put bluffs in. Try and think about, what sizes make sense, what kind of counters the player pull. All of those types of things are definitely things you want to think about when you're going about your game. Another thing I want to talk about for a moment, a lot of people asked me why, I would try and play a more theory-based strategy when I was playing in this thing. And the answer, besides the fact that it will obviously win, which is the main reason, another reason is that when you're playing on stream, you actually have to play at a higher level than when you're playing off of stream. Now, in a big player pool at small stakes where no one knows anyone, it might not matter. But on a smaller site like WSOP.com, or let's say that I was playing higher stakes, it's really going to matter how you play against your opponents because they can see your hands. And if you're not going to play a good balanced game, well, then they can exploit you. I know a lot of you guys are like, oh yeah, like the small stakes regs will exploit you. But let's just say you're playing on WSOP and most of your opponents have your cards up and you start making really big folds in the river. Well, what you're doing is you're encouraging people to bluff you. I'm not a big fan of that. In fact, one of the biggest pillars of my heads-up game was to try and shut people's bluffs down until they felt like they couldn't bluff you. Because then their range would become too weak when they check, and they'd have all these problems stemming from the fact that they felt like their bluffs were minus EV against you, and a lot of people would just get gun-shy and stop trying to do it. If you're trying to become a good poker player, I'd have to recommend to not stream. Streaming can be fun. It can be a good way to try and build a brand and try and have an interaction with the community. But to become a good poker player, you have to do a lot of thinking and have a lot of introspection about your own game and learning. And I think when you stream, it takes away from that. So if you want to get good at poker, get good at poker. And if you want to be a streamer, get good at streaming. Anyway, this is one of the reasons why I had an approach like how I did, which was just to play good, solid poker. And what I started to realize was if I played cash games and I put in long sessions, I think if you look at the last 5 or 6 sessions of the challenge, played for averages of just around 10 hours a session. If I just 10 tabled for 10 hours, the amount of hands that I would get in against players that weren't very good was a high number. I get to play something in the vicinity of 5,000 to 10,000 hands a day. I'm honestly just guessing here based on roughly what tables seem to be because, again, I have no hand histories. But that's a lot of hands. In fact, that's something that I think a lot of people in the challenge didn't quite realize was the last 10 to 15 days of this challenge, there was an absurd amount of volume, in fact, much more than the majority of the other days. If I had to guess, I'd say one of the last 10 days of the challenge would be equal to, like, let's say 2 or 3 days from earlier in the challenge. But again, there's no way to tell exactly. After a small amount of tournament success, I did move back over to cash games. And I generally followed a rule of having in the vicinity of 15-ish buy-ins to take a shot. And when I got down to something like 12, I moved back down. Pretty aggressive bankroll management, but I knew in these games that I was going to have a significant edge. Also, because the amount of volume that I'd put in at the site, I started to get a higher rake back tier, so I wasn't actually paying too much in rake in order to get those hands in. Actually, before I knew it, I was shot taking NL100 and NL200 because the cash games were going extremely well. In fact, I think if a lot of people tuned in to those cash game sessions, I think we saw a good mixture of bluffs and value, a reasonable amount of calling people down, but we played good solid poker for 4 to 5 days straight over a ton of volume, and the win rate was there. We saw a very consistently solid win rate playing in those games because, frankly, the amount of edge was pretty ridiculous. Now, also, one thing that was probably helping me was when you stream, people join the table that might not otherwise. Not really that much I can do about that, but there were also some certainly weaker players playing against me. It's possible that WSOP.com is just like that, but I'm sure it also had something to do with the stream. The final day actually started off not so hot. Okay, we'll take a flop. What a nice way to start off the stream today, guys. Talk about a nice way to start it off. Nice run out. Are you fucking kidding me? What? Oh my god, man. Brutal. Brutal way to start the stream. However, after that, I started to crush. I was winning tons of stacks on every table. And before I knew it, the roll was at about $6,000 to $7,000. and I decided it was time to put it on the line at NL 500 to see if we could get the 10K. It started off going in a good direction with a couple of clutch hands where we got there on the river. Then we had a serious all-in. This is an all-in that was so unbelievably pivotal in the challenge. If I lose this all-in, I was 1 or 2 stacks away from moving back down. But if I win this all-in, I might just finish it in one day. Dead. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh! Holy shit! Holy shit, man! At this point, I was seriously upswinging. I was stacking people left, right, and center. Now, I looked at the bankroll, 8,000, 9,000, 9,500. At 9,600, I decided to sit out of NL 500 because I no longer gained as much from stacking someone as I would by getting stacked. And I moved down in stakes and began the final part of the final session to hit 10K. I was game selecting fairly hard, and I added a couple of tables in at NL 500 where there were particularly good spots. And it finally happened. I broke the $10,000 barrier. If he checks and we win, it's over. It's over. We gotta set out all the tables, but I think it's over now. I think we just won the challenge, man. Right up Thunder raising our fucking... Wow, this is a pretty sick spot to bluff me, because if I call down and lose, I don't win the challenge. But we did it, guys. We fucking did it. Holy shit. We fucking did it, man. Afterwards, I gave a little bit of a speech. I'll show you guys what went down. So many hours of microstake grinding, and it comes to a close like this. To the bank. Only took 2 years. Only took 2 years, guys. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for all of this. I want to thank everyone in the chat. All the support. You know, I know there was some haters and shit, but we got there, and we did it. We did it with some style. We were obviously aggressive on the bankroll management. No two ways about that. But you know, I do want to quickly say, if you're building a bankroll, don't do it in this exact way, because frankly, you're likely to go on some pretty big downswings. We saw that several times in the challenge, and a lot of people were like, "Oh, he doesn't realize that he can lose a lot when he does this." No, I know that, but it's a calculated risk, right? So, God, you guys are going insane in the chat. It was a calculated risk. If you want to play poker well and win money playing poker, it is not rocket science, okay? Just play good, solid, balanced poker. Adjust a little bit to some people, and you're going to crush it, man. You don't have to be, like, folding everywhere to people. You don't have to be playing a certain way. You don't have to do any of that shit. You just have to play good, solid poker, and you'll eventually win. And that's what I tried to do, you know? And I see people like, "Oh, man, he calls rivers and shit." Yeah, that's how I play. That's how I play, and if you play good poker, you'll win no matter what. It took 58 sessions and many, many hours of poker, but we made it. You know, we turned $100 into $10,000 on stream. You guys got to see as much of it as you wanted. The poker dream is still alive. You can turn a small amount of money into a large amount of money if you have the skills and the dedication to do it. But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy today. I'm not going to say it's as easy as it once was. It's not. You have to be smart. You have to find the best places to play. You have to pick 1 or 2 game types and really master them. You've got to be smart, man. It's not like it was back in the day. It's tougher now. Even though it is tougher now to win money playing poker, the dream is still alive. You can turn $100 into $10,000. You can turn small amounts of money into a large amount of money. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not going to lie to you. It's tougher nowadays, guys. Like, games have gotten tougher. Rake has gotten higher. People play better. You're going to have to fight all of those things. You're going to have to be much smarter with your decision making. You know, I think back in the day when I was coming up, you probably could have a time or two in your life where you punted off most of your money doing stupid shit and you could still rally, right? That's what happened basically in my life. But I don't know if that type of opportunity is there anymore. You know, you have to be careful when you run up a bankroll how you manage it. Don't fall into some of the traps that a lot of the other people in poker have fallen into before. I'm not going to go down that road. Everyone knows the kinds of vices or game selection issues that poker players can have. You got to be smarter nowadays, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. At the conclusion of the challenge, there's a lot of support from a lot of people, and I just want to say thank you to all the fans. You know, there were a lot of people that really had my back and tuned in to see all the streams, and that meant a lot to me. So I just want to say thank you to all of the guys that were there in support of the challenge. There were many excited people about the challenge and were happy about its conclusion. However, there were some naysayers. People like Arnold Bastard, who said, "The guy won the challenge, but didn't even follow through with his strict bankroll rules. Very misleading. He took very risky shots." And to people like Arnold, I just want to say, you suck. Anyway, I just want to say that even though it wasn't for a huge amount of money, I'm proud that I did it because I told you guys I would complete the challenge. I said it was something that I would do, and I completed it. And even though at different points I felt like I didn't want to do it, which is why I didn't give myself a strict timeline, I still did it. Because sometimes in life, it's about showing up and coming through on your word more than it is about doing what it is that you want to do. This segues sort of into the next topic that I want to discuss. You might have gotten a little bit of the vibe from the speech I gave after the challenge concluded, but you know, I'm not going to play poker anymore. That's a chapter in my life story that is coming to a close. And I had a great time. I had a blast. Poker has given me so much. It's a great game. It's truly amazing to me that there's a game a strategic game that you can play for a lot of money. I remember when I first learned about that when I was 16 years old, and I learned that you could play a game for money against people, and it's a strategy game where you could win. That idea is so beautiful. The fact that someone's wits can result in a career of winnings, like just that idea it's amazing. It's also one of the reasons why I get so upset when I see companies saying like, "Oh, we'll raise the rake. Nobody cares. It's not about winning. It's about slot machines and chess and shit." No, it's not. Poker is about two people employing their own strategies to see whose is better. And what happens in one session or one day or 1 week, it's mainly going to be variance. But over time, the superior player wins. That's what poker is all about. It's all about people having that opportunity to one day make something of themselves that they couldn't be otherwise. You know, I look at me, right? Like when I was 15, 16 years old, my family was always middle class-ish. And yet I managed to take really no money that I had at all, 20, 50, whatever my initial deposit was. And I turned that into a career. I turned that into something where I got to live the life that I wanted to live, the freedom, everything that came with it. I'm so unbelievably grateful for the fact that I got that opportunity and what the game has given to me that I do feel like it's part of my responsibility to help protect it. But I don't feel like it's my responsibility to keep playing. And that's something that a lot of people are going to be upset by. And if it does upset you, I'm sorry. The worst thing about this, I think, is the fact that I'm going to let a lot of my fans down. And I don't like doing that. I like coming through for people that believe in me and support me. But, for quite some time now, I have not enjoyed playing poker. It's felt like a grind. It's felt like work. And, I've played poker many years now. I'm 29. I'm going to be 30 this year. And I've played poker for over a decade of really playing a lot of poker. And that's just not something that I find fun anymore. It's not something that I find like it expands my mind in ways that I haven't had before. Some of the best moments in my life, seriously, when I look back, are moments where like I had some high stakes battles against people where we each had our own strategy and we're going toe to toe. Or when I was trying to figure out poker concepts with my friends and hanging out with the crew of guys that I played poker with. But they're none of them are playing poker anymore. None of my friends that I really came up with, they don't even play anymore. They've all moved on to starting businesses or getting involved in a lot of finance stuff. They're not even here. It's just kind of me now. And so if I'm not surrounded by all of my friends and all the people that I really love to be around, and everyone's kind of moved on, and I don't feel like poker is helping me expand my mind in ways that I feel like I'm growing as a person, you start to wonder, why am I playing? And that's something that I've really struggled with for the last year or so. I took a lot of time off before this summer. I was hoping that some of the fire would return when I got back to playing the Super High Roller Bowl or the main event. And it wasn't there. I got back and I didn't enjoy it. And so, I got to come clean, guys. I'm not someone that's going to ever try and be someone I'm not. I'm not fake. I always try to be real with everyone. And I don't see myself playing poker anymore. I don't know if that means I'm never playing poker again. I'm not going to be one of the 50 million people who, quote, retire and then start playing again next week. I don't want to do any of that stuff because I don't want to box myself in like that. I'm not saying I'll never play poker again. I'm just saying, at least for the time being, I'm not going to be playing poker. I'm going to take a step away from the game for a bit. I don't know what that time frame will be like, and if that lets some of you guys down, I'm sorry. The bottom line here is I don't think I see myself playing poker anymore. I do see myself being part of the community in terms of social media or creating content, but I don't see myself playing. I've also been spending a lot of time thinking about what I want to do. Where do I want to spend my time? And I'm not totally sure yet. I'm still trying to figure things out. Obviously, I'm going to be spending a decent amount of time making sure that Upswing Poker is a great company, and also Coin Central, another company I started recently. But as far as like what my daily grind looks like, I think it's going to be more based around creating mainstream YouTube content. I'm not sure, not totally sure about that. It's still kind of up in the air. I'm sort of slowly ruling things out, but I think that's what I want to do, because I want to see. One of the things I like the most, in fact, this is probably one of the things I like the most about poker, was I like competition, and I like trying to be good at things and growing and sometimes failing. And I like that process. And I kind of need that journey. And so I think this is a new opportunity for me to go on that journey. And if that's something that you guys want to be a part of, I'll be making videos on another channel. I'll put a link below. It's one that I started a month or two ago. If not, I get it, man. If you just like the poker and that's it, that's what you're here for, that's cool. I'll still make some videos from time to time right here on the channel. This video has become long-winded enough, but I do want to end it on a couple of notes here. I want to just say thanks one more time to everyone that's always supported me when I play poker or like to see me play, or all the fans. Like that has meant a lot to me. It's you guys are the reason that I've done this for so long, and it's just meant a lot to me to see that type of support from the community, and I appreciate that. And finally, this doesn't mean I'm never going to play poker again. I'll probably play occasionally from time to time for fun, and maybe at some point down the road it'll be something that I really want to get back into, and the flame will reignite to play a lot of poker. I really don't know. It's one of the reasons why I've always said this. It's one of the reasons why I think it's funny when people quote retire from poker. It's not something where you exactly have to be in top physical shape to get back into it. But what I can say is I need to go on that new journey in my life, and I hope it's one that some of you guys would consider joining. That's going to do it here from me. If you want to check out any of the stuff discussed in this video, I'll put links in the description below. And I want to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys again soon.